What up, nerds? If you're watching this video, it's because you want Costa Rica metas, and I have them for you. I started looking at the coverage yesterday because I haven't been able to find any really good meta documents or videos about the new Costa Rica coverage since it dropped. So I started looking around yesterday for poll metas, and Costa Rica is jam-packed full of them. And I haven't spent that much time looking at this. I'm sure there are way more. So I will leave this data set in the description down below so you can get it, you can look at it, you can maybe find more information from the data that I have collected here, or maybe add onto that and find more useful metas. But I'm going to be going over the most useful metas that I have found for Costa Rica poll markings. So one take, hopefully this works out for me. So yellow labels, they're found everywhere across the entirety of the country. They are either blank or they have numbers on them, and they come in a few different arrangements with those numbers. They can be 3 numbers, 6 numbers, 10 numbers. Those are the most common setups, but sometimes you will find 1 or 2 numbers as well. Let me go ahead and find a good setup here. Oh, this one's perfect. Okay, this is the most common looking poll marking that you will find in Costa Rica generally. It is the yellow background with 2 sets of 3 numbers that are divided by a dash in the middle. Sometimes you will find the top numbers horizontal, sometimes they will both be horizontal, but either way there will be 6 numbers and a yellow background. By far the most common. I have also marked out as well in this data set the leading digit of each of these as well. I've been assuming that the top digits would be the most significant for, pardon my French, for locating where exactly we are in the country. It doesn't seem like it's particularly useful, but again, that's as a part of this data set. Maybe you can extrapolate that into something useful. But yeah, they can lead with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9s. I found all of those. As you can see, I've got them sort of marked out here. By far, the most common happens to be 7. 7 happens everywhere. But each of these guys kind of occurs in equal distribution throughout the entire country. But yeah, that's the pretty standard yellow label. Again, you will find these basically everywhere in different setups, but usually with some combination of letters and numbers. And as for those being particularly useful for region guessing, I have not found that to be the case. Here's an example of a blank one. But the useful ones are the 10-digit ones, and if I go ahead and only select the 10-digit instances here, they are pretty densely concentrated in the southern portion of the country down here. There are some found in and around the San Jose area as well as north of that, but these ones are, see, this one's a little bit questionable. And this one, yeah, I don't think that these ones are particularly useful for region guessing. Maybe they will be in the future. Maybe I'm only speaking from my perspective of the useful ones down here, which I will go through. So the useful ones are 2, 8, and 9. If you get leading numbers of 2, 8, and 9 in the 4-digit sections of a 10-digit poll marking like this, you have hit the jackpot. You are in the south of the country in this specific area. And even more than that, we can get more in depth. So let's start with the 8s. I'm going to unselect these guys. So the 8s occur just along these 3 stretches of road. I assume that the 8s may also keep going down the 245 here as well, but on the bottom there doesn't seem to be really any polls there. Side note. But yes, so we can see that these all start with 8. And more specifically, if you look at the 2nd digit up in the north section along this road here, we have 88, and these are all 88s, which is awesome. Everything that I've marked up here is an 88 down to this guy right here. This is also, oh wait, I lied, that's an 82. Don't ask questions. Largely 88s up along this north section here. This one in the middle here, these guys are going to be 87s, largely speaking. I just ate my tongue. There's an 87 right there, as you can see, and I think that's an 87. That one's kind of blurry. There's another 87. Point stands. You have a bunch of 87s throughout here. So 7s and 8s so far, right? So 7s on the 2, 8s on the 237. Apparently some questionable ones over here. On the bottom, we have 89s. 89s are pretty evenly spread along this road here. As you can see, I marked out a ton up here, but I'm sure there are lots. Yeah, so if you find an 89, it will only be down here, maybe on this section here. I have not been able to find one. I did some deep searching for one yesterday, and I wasn't able to, so maybe you guys can prove me wrong on that. Yeah. So we will then take a look at the 9s. There are 9s spread out in the south. There's also one that I found in the San Jose area, which is very upsetting. But if you look at the second digit 94, you will understand that you'll be able to tell that that's not very useful for the south here. So the south is largely 9 zeros, 9 ones, 9 twos, and 9 threes. 9 zeros are all along this section of road right here, from these small towns basically to Uvita, but a little bit outside. I haven't seen any of them past where I've marked this guy right here. But if I pull one up, yeah, there is a 9. Let me pull one up here. There's a 9031. So yeah, that kind of makes my point for me there. Here we have 9 twos, and the 9 twos go along this windy road from north to south, from San Vito down to Corridor. 99210. Again, 9 twos up here. Then we can find the 9 ones. The 9 ones should be down here. So yeah, here are the 9 ones. They are found along this stretch of road that starts to hug the border down near Bambito, probably my favorite town name in the bottom here, because it's also not capitalized. Like, okay, Bambito, I hear you, hipster. Yeah, so these are the 9 ones down here. And then further along we go, we end up with the 9 threes. So the 9 threes are clustered on the same section of road on this 238 that go all the way up into these little towns over here. There's the 9 threes again. So just to summarize, 9 zeros along this section over here, 9 ones right here, 9 twos up here, and 9 threes over here. Then finally we have the twos. The twos I have not looked at any metas for the second digits, though I'm certain that there are, but I'll just show you the distribution of them. These kind of form a Z shape right here, and in these few roads, and then they're also on these two joining roads here around the 9s, like north of the 9s basically. So yeah, these are the most useful 4-digit codes that I have come across so far. I'm sure that there are others out there, and others will be able to find more. But yeah, this is by far the most useful stuff for like specific region guessing. And yeah, there's probably a second digit meta to be found in here as well, but I just haven't really looked at it. So yeah, that's basically the yellow labels. I'll also mention one small fun thing that is probably a fake meta, but I will find out, as I'm convinced that Liberia does T-shaped yellow pole markings. We can see one right there. We can also see one right here. I've only ever seen these in the city of Liberia. Also, Liberia, copying the name of the country. Not to call you guys out, Costa Rica, but Montenegro is right here. Explain. So anyway, I think that Liberia does T-shaped pole paint. I have no consistency to prove this, but I've just never seen this anywhere else in the country, and I noticed it a few times, and it kind of made me chuckle. So maybe that's a fake meta that you can look into on your own time. So yes, this is the distribution of yellow labels that I have found thus far. Very cool. And those are the most useful sub-metas, if you will, for yellow labels. So let's look at black labels. Black labels are a lot more specific to this western region of the country over here. I did find one of them in the San Jose-ish area. Don't ask me questions. I hope that there's not more over there, because that kind of kills how powerful this meta is. But this is a very, very useful meta. These are dark pole markings on the lower quarter-ish of wooden and concrete poles, always with a black painted background with yellow numbers and digits in them. So if I go ahead and zoom in on all of these, you will see pretty consistently that it's yellow writing, and then a black background on the bottoms of these poles. So yeah, it's pretty easy to recognize. It's often pretty faded as well, like you'll need to kind of squint to see it sometimes. But yeah, it's always on the lower end of these, and I point that out because there are also darker markings on the tops of poles that I will go over in a second. But yeah, as you can see, these are largely concentrated in the western portion on this sort of elbow of this arm right here. And there's also, yeah, this very unfortunate one that I found. In fact, I don't even think that this falls into the category. Like, what's with this arrow? Like, that arrow's not in any of the other ones, but it was close enough that I marked it. Anyway, so if we take a look now at the where is it? Where is my high black label. Am I just blind? Yeah, no, it's right there. It's because it was blending into the background. So the high black labels, these are found all over the country. These aren't very useful, but I figured I would point them out anyways, just so that people don't get mixed up. Yeah, so they're black painted at the tops of poles, and usually with white instead of yellow text. So yeah, largely around San Jose, but it can be found pretty much anywhere in the country. I don't think it's that useful for region guessing. So next major type. Yes, I will take a look at the wire numbers now. I think that's a pretty powerful meta. So wire numbers, rather than painting onto these poles, this region of Costa Rica has decided to use these wires on poles for their numbers instead. So here's a perfect example here. You have these sort of wires that spell out numbers rather than writing them on in paint or on a sign. And yeah, this is pretty consistent. I find these all over the place in this region, and it only occurs within this region. I should point out as well that up in like Max North up here, you will find a yellow marked pole. So somewhere along the 35, it switches again from wire to yellow. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, this flat area, it's not entirely flat, but mostly flat area north of San Jose, it uses these wires, and this is incredibly useful. This has been probably one of the best finds from my searching around so far. So yeah, if you find wires for numbers on your usually wooden poles, yeah, that's incredibly valuable. This will be pretty much exclusively within this region as far as I've been able to find so far. So moving on from that, there's some more minor metas that you will find around San Jose, and we will take a look at those now. So there's the San Jose white tag, as I've called it. These are these white tags that'll appear either like painted on or like what appears to be like a bit of a sticker or like a metal sheet. And these are fixated to a lot of the poles around San Jose. They've always got 5 numbers on them as far as I can tell, and they pretty often have a letter above. I've seen like A's, T's, and E's before. So maybe there's some more region guessing that you can get out of that. I have not looked into finding any valuable metas from those letters, but yeah, if you see these sort of metal plates sometimes painted on, like I say, this is going to be the San Jose area, reaching pretty much all around this urban region. I bet that they go even further west over here. I just haven't stumbled across any or found any to mark out. So Cartago or Cartajo, I don't know how to pronounce that. I do not speak Spanish, but the blue text meta is pretty powerful. So let me find a good example for this guy. Even more than the blue text is the P prefix here. So on a ton of the poles around here, you will find pole paint, usually blue text. I think I have one marked out that is not blue text, so technically not a blue text meta. It's usually blue, and that'll be useful. Is these sort of white backgrounds with P dash and then some digits. And like I'm saying, it's almost always blue. It's incredibly useful. It's specific to this area. I've not found these anywhere else in the country. So keep that in mind. If you see blue text with a P dash, you are probably in the Cartago area. As you can see, I marked this one too because you can just kind of make it out there a little bit, right? You're like, oh yeah, I guess that's a P, but it's blue on the pole, which is what really matters as far as I'm concerned. In the sort of sketchier scenarios like that where you're not 100% sure, or like this one right here, it's like, I don't know, maybe that's a P, maybe it's not. It's definitely blue, definitely kind of vibes with it. So yeah, that one's very, very, very useful. Very, 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 very useful. So moving on, let's talk about the yellow metal pole codes. Sure, these ones remind me of some of the pole markings that you will find in my home province of Ontario. That one's a very crappy image. But yeah, these right here, I swear to God, someone literally stole these from Ontario and put them on the poles, because I see down to a T almost these exact pole markings in Ontario, and you'll only find them in like this very specific area. So this is sort of, high yield if you can remember it in the round where it comes up. But I've only really found it on the 2 highway in this sort of north-south section here, and then I found one as well along the 222 going westbound from there. But again, there's no coverage out here, so it's a pretty limited utility meta for now. But yeah, this looks like Ontario markings with the silver top and bottom and with the yellow backed black digits. Yeah, alpha numeric code, yada, 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 yada. You get the idea. They're plastered all over the stretch. I don't know why. I thought it was really interesting. It just gave me Ontario vibes. So yeah, that's kind of useful, I guess, if you can manage to remember it. I might not even remember it myself. We'll take a look now at, screw it, let's do white key. So the white key is a little bit distributed. And it's not actually a key, spoiler alert, but it kind of looked like a key when I first saw one blurry from a distance. So what this actually is this is some numbers followed by what I believe to be a QR code underneath as I squint and try and figure out. So yeah, it looked kind of like a key to me when I first saw it. I was like, yeah. See, like, this is a better one. It's still a little bit blurry, but yeah, like you have like some alphanumeric code up top with a QR code at the bottom. It kind of looks like an upside down key. So I'm calling it the key sticker or the key label or whatever. It's a key as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, in fact, there's an even clearer one. So this can kind of be found around on these highways south of San Jose. It's kind of spread around randomly. I thought it was going to be strictly just this western area, but I did find some around in here directly south of San Jose, as well as to the east of that even. So maybe limited utility, but at least you know that you're in this sort of stretch here. Again, this probably occurs in all these little roads out here, but we don't have Street View for those. So moving on, we will look at the silver tag with the vertical numbers. This one is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. I marked out a ton of them. These ones follow a general pattern. This one's pretty good, with like some vertical numbers followed by horizontal numbers followed by more vertical numbers. And so it's always like vertical and then 2 horizontal digits side by side followed by more numbers. Maybe some secret metas here to be found. This one, you can kind of see that the horizontal ones are gone for some reason, but I think that still falls into the category. Yeah, there's another one right there. Pretty easy to remember, I feel like. Why did we lose ourselves on that one? Get back to that in a minute. But yeah, here's some more horizontals, and these can be found pretty densely in this region directly south of San Jose that I have marked out a ton, but you can also find them like sort of mixed in with the Ontario pole markings I was just talking about, and on this Highway 2 as it stretches up into Cartago. So pretty useful, I would say, all things considered. So yeah, the white key, the Ontario markers, I would say pretty useful for the south of San Jose on these mountain highways here. I think that's basically it. I just had a stroke trying to remember if I talked about black labels or not, but I definitely did. That's basically it. So I've talked about the yellow labels. They're found pretty much everywhere. I've talked about the 10-digit yellow code labels found in the south of the country. I've talked about the black labels up here, which are incredibly useful. I talked about the wire numbers, incredibly useful, and then talked about the more minor metas down here. I'm going to leave the JSON file for this map in the description below. So if you would like to take a look at this map, you can download it and modify it and expand upon it and find more metas that I may have missed within this data set, or add on to it and find even more metas. I hope this has been a valuable contribution to the meta development for Costa Rica. And yeah, if you would like to see more videos like this, like and subscribe.